Traveling with large telephoto lenses can be one of the biggest challenges that wildlife photographers face. I see it time and time again where people are actually avoiding some of the larger lenses like the 600 f4 or the 400 f2.8 because they're too hard to travel with. And while it's true that traveling with those lenses is a lot more difficult than traveling with smaller lenses, it can be done really easily if you have the right bag. Let me explain to you why I believe the Nya-Evo Fjord 60C is the best travel bag for wildlife photographers. And make sure you stick around to the end because I have another bag that I take with me on all of my travel that makes traveling with all of my camera gear and accessories even easier. So right up front, I purchased this bag with my own money. This video is not sponsored by anyone, and all of the views here are from my personal experience using this bag. I spent a lot of time researching different camera bags specifically for my travel requirements. I shoot with the Sony A1 and the 600mm f4 lens, which is a very large lens and presents some challenges when traveling. I had four main criteria that a camera bag had to meet for me to even consider purchasing it. The first criteria was that the camera bag had to meet airline carry-on requirements for all of the major airlines. And this was super important for me because there's no way that I am checking any of my camera equipment unless I absolutely have to. That's a total last resort. We've all seen how airlines handle some of the checked baggage, throwing them around. They're not exactly delicate with them. And not only that, could you imagine getting to your final destination ready to go on your birding and photography adventure and having them have lost your checked bag? It happens more frequently than you think, and there's no way I'm willing to take that chance. And so first and foremost, whatever bag that I was going to choose had to meet those airline carry-on requirements. But this is where it started to get tricky. Not only did it have to meet those carry-on requirements, but I also wanted a bag that was going to fit the Sony A1 camera body and that 600mm f4 lens while they're connected inside of the bag. This is more of a convenience thing than anything else. I really don't want to be taking apart and putting back together that camera lens and camera body every time I need to put it inside the bag or take it out of the bag and get ready to shoot again. I want the system to be ready inside of this bag for me to just be able to open it up, take it out, and be ready to shoot. And there are not that many travel bags that both fit the airline carry-on requirements, but also have enough space to fit a large lens like that 600 f4 with the camera body attached to it. So this is where it really started to get tricky. My third criteria was that the bag had to be backpack style and not one of those hard cases or those roller cases. And here's why. When airlines start running out of room in those overhead bins for your carry-on bags, what are the first bags that end up getting gate checked? It's always those bigger, bulkier, roller, hard-sided bags that get checked first. And so again, my goal is to always have this bag with me at all times. Having this bag get checked with all of my expensive camera gear on it is just not an option for me. And so I try to do everything possible to make sure that I can get this bag on the airplane in the overhead bin. And so that kind of brings us to our fourth criteria, and that is that whatever bag I was going to purchase, I wanted to make sure that it had an optional internal carry unit. Again, this is just another precaution that I like to take so that if the overhead bin space does start to become limited, I have an option for a much smaller bag inside of the main bag that I can take out and hopefully find some space on the airplane for. So keeping those four requirements in mind, I found that there were very few options that met all of those criteria that I wanted in a bag. So I kind of had narrowed it down to either the Mr. Jan Boris 4, which has the space to carry the 600 f4 and the Sony body attached. It has room for other gear and accessories as well, but it doesn't have that internal carry unit option. And so what I ended up going with was really the only bag that I could find that met all of my criteria, and that is the Nya-Evo Fjord 60C. So I've actually put this bag to the test. I've traveled with it, and it has made traveling with all of my camera gear super seamless. This bag was specifically designed by Nya-Evo to fit all of the airline carry-on requirements. That's actually in their description on their website, that they had that in mind when they were designing this bag. I'm pleased to report that it easily handles the Sony A1 and the 600 f4 combined inside of that internal carry unit, which is fantastic. But not only that, I've found that I can actually get the 1.4 teleconverter on the 600 f4 with the A1 and fit it inside of this bag. It's pretty tight, but it does work, and I've had no issues using it that way, which is a huge bonus in my mind. The internal carrying unit of this bag has plenty of space for all of my other gear and accessories that I might bring, additional lenses, microphones, drone, battery, you name it. This bag has plenty of space for all of those extra pieces of equipment that I want to bring with me on these trips. I'm not going to get into all of the different specs of this bag. You can find those specs on their website, but I will say that this is one of the most well-designed bags that I have ever seen. The zippers are super strong, like industrial strength. Some of my other bags, I've had issues with the zippers coming off and needing to be repaired. I can't imagine that's ever going to be a case with this bag. The material is actually weather resistant, so even in a light rain, I've had no issues, even without the rain fly on this bag. With any of my gear getting wet inside, it's so well protected. Rain, snow, you name it, this bag is going to protect your gear really well. It's very padded, and there are a ton of different compartments that you can put any of your additional accessories in. There are so many pockets, there are so many ways to customize this bag that you can really make it your own. If I had to find something to complain about with this bag, is that this camera bag has so many different pockets and compartments that if I haven't used this bag in a while, I'll kind of forget where I've stored certain pieces of gear in here. Like if I'm rummaging around for my lens cloths or my lens wipes, sometimes I can't remember if I put it in the front pocket, in the back pockets. Inside one of those pockets, there are all these different little sleeves that you can put stuff in. And so it's great that it has all of these storage options, but if you don't use it all the time, you might end up forgetting where you put something. As I said before, I've traveled with this. It fits my gear perfectly. It has plenty of extra space for me to include other camera equipment that I take with me while I'm traveling. But I'm curious, have you found bags that you think would be even better for traveling? Let me know in the comment section below. So now let's jump into the other bag that I take with me on all of these trips, and that is the Tenba DNA 16 Slim Messenger Bag. So this bag can fit a 16-inch laptop, and it has specialized compartments specifically for camera lenses and other camera gear inside of it. This bag is so much more versatile than just your typical laptop bag because it has these specialized compartments and because it's been designed for photographers. So I can actually put a macro lens in here, I can put a wide angle lens in here, I can put extra batteries, I can fit a drone in here, and I also like to put a lot of the cords and the chargers and the batteries in here. That way I know exactly where everything is. So I started traveling with both of these bags about a year ago, and since traveling with the Nya-Evo and this Tenba bag, I've had no issues fitting all of my gear inside of these bags and also staying very organized throughout the trip. I've done the hard part for you. I've done all of the research into this, and I know that this system works really well for me. I think it would work really well for you if you're using similar gear to what I am using. But I'm also curious to hear if you have other bag recommendations. If you do, leave them in the comment section below. If you like videos like this, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.